was always going on about, you know, the importance of sustainability and trying to live in a way that we could do a little bit less damage in the process of having a good life and building wealth without necessarily, you know, finding ourselves full scale into the system. And had seen, you know, and had listened to my elders in terms of what happened in the Depression and the struggles my parents had and so forth. So I'd been talking the talk for 10 years. I decided that if I was going to ever have a house, which I didn't have at the time, I would try to do it in a way that was more sustainable. So that was the goal, was to actually do what I was talking about, okay, as opposed to just talking about it.
Do you think it's easier for people now that green has become popular? Do you think it's easier for them to get started since?
It's harder, I think, now. But green was hugely popular when I was a little kid. I was really influenced, 10 to 15-year-old age period, of people doing this kind of thing. When I was a kid, I saw it. And then it kind of went away for 20-some years, and now it's back again. I think it's harder now. It's more expensive. But the numbers aren't in the solar. It's in the land, at least around here.
Having pretty much, you've done solar and you've done wind,
yeah,
and thermal. If somebody was to begin the process from scratch,
yeah,
what do you think would be the best way to get started?
Two things. Don't mortgage it. Do it out of pocket as much as you can. And if you do need to go to a bank, go to a local bank that isn't going to sell their mortgages on the market. The second thing is that we don't bat an eye spending $30,000 on a car. If you spent $10,000 on solar, you could have really more than a good start, probably all you would ever need. I have a total investment of about $15,000 in solar here. About $7,000 of that came from the state of Michigan as a grant. Okay. And I did it gradually. I bought used equipment. These are old lead acid batteries from like the 80s. The power comes in here into the batteries, and then this inverts it. It takes the direct current and turns it to alternating current, AC. And then it goes from here underground right to the house. So I think we can, you know, reconfigure our thinking that solar first, you know, the power system comes first because that's the biggest investment, the batteries in particular. The cost on all that stuff's coming down now that it's being mass produced. And I really tried, Vanessa, to have more of a permaculture design, and I'll show you how things link here in a minute. Okay. I have a big takedown project I should do for the garden, but instead what I've been doing is kind of gardening it through the summer and then moving the focus over to the greenhouse, which I'll show you for the rest of the year. So yeah, this has been this year's project. My kids and I have been out here like all the time. I have on the inside of the roof, there's a material that goes on the inside so that it will hold some heat. But the actual insulation will be this kind of stuff underneath. I also picked up a bunch of tires from the woods and tire piles I knew about, and so they're different sized. That's what I did all spring. And that's a lot of work. Every one of those tires you pack with a sledgehammer. Yeah. The other thing I'm doing is I'm taking wine bottles, making bricks out of them like they did in the movies. And then this is my first attempt.
Do you feel like you've made an impact environmentally?
No. I think that we all have our own ledgers. On a carbon scale, yeah, I can calculate it. It's more of a personal thing. It's more of a private, kind of a spiritual drive as opposed to having some kind of impact. It's that I had to do this. I do believe in pulling things back more locally. And I was born in a time where I saw communities before they got destroyed, and actually in small towns got to experience how things interacted. But the more we can do locally, the better, I think, is the answer. What I'm most inspired by are the people who are right now in their 20s in the US and Europe and everywhere I've been, who get this stuff and are savvy, and they're not taking any kind of, I mean, they still have their idealism and they're not taking any kind of excuses as to why they can't do something. Mm-hmm. So you've got internet entrepreneurs, you've got all kinds of fair trade, commerce going on, all kinds of great stuff. And that's what most inspires me. So the global marketplace isn't going to be our answer, but I'm really encouraged by younger people who are figuring this stuff out and taking action. If it wasn't for that, I'd be pretty damn depressed at the moment, frankly.